Yeah. Whoa. I speak. We change lives, Jesus. I speak.
Welcome to the TP Masterclass. On behalf of Cliff Cheqona and the entire TP family, we're honored to have you here. You didn't just join a live session. You stepped into a transformational experience designed to help you master your mind, align your emotions, and trade with clarity and conviction. We'll be starting shortly. In the meantime, settle in and prepare your notepad. Like the stream, subscribe if you haven't already. And most importantly, invite someone who needs this. Because around here, we don't just trade, we transform. Let's get started soon.
I speak life, I speak spirit. We change lives, Jesus did it. I speak life, I speak spirit. We change lives, Jesus did it. Step into my Monday. I'm stepping to my Monday. I'm stepping to my Monday. We change lives, Jesus did it. I'm stepping to my Monday. I'm stepping to my Monday. I'm stepping to my Monday. We change lives, Jesus did it.
What TP Masterclass really is. TP Masterclass is a transformation masterclass that happens every Saturday. It is designed to reshape the way you think, the way you respond, and the way you perform, not just in trading, but in any industry where your mind plays a major role. Even though anyone can benefit from it, the majority of people you'll find here are traders. Why? Because trading is one of the few fields where your mindset, your emotions, and your discipline are tested every single day. Every session blends psychological lessons that help you understand your thinking and your behavior, spiritual lessons that strengthen your inner conviction and identity, practical lessons that give you structure and direction in real life. TP Masterclass exists because most people don't fail due to lack of skill. They fail because their mindset is not prepared for the level they are trying to reach. This masterclass equips you with the mental strength, emotional stability, and clarity needed to perform at a high level. Whether you are a trader, an entrepreneur, or someone trying to grow in life.
It's a mind game. You heard me. Trading is a mind game. Fix your mind, fix your trading. Fix your mind, fix your trading. It's a mind game. You heard me. Trading is a mind game. Fix your mind, fix your trading. Fix your mind, fix your trading. It's a mind game.
Hello, TP family. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another TP Masterclass live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. How's everyone doing? How is your day going? How was your day today? Did you do anything productive? Did you trade, during the weekends? What have you been doing so far today? But welcome back to another TP Masterclass. I'm Tenzin Shells, as always, as most of you already know. Welcome to another TP Masterclass live today, Saturday, 6 p.m. UK time, always on time. How's everyone doing? Just put in the live chat, whether you are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, just put in the live chat and then I'll be able to see it. So hello everyone and welcome to another TP Masterclass. And you can also put in where you are tuning in from in the live chat. I see someone saying good evening, Shells. Good evening. How are you doing? Whether you're tuning in from Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Uganda, UK, US, thank you guys so much for always turning up. Thank you so much. And also, if you are currently watching the replay of this exact TP Masterclass, just put it in the comment section, replay, so that I will know that you are watching the replay of this exact TP Masterclass. I see people from Nigeria, Ghana, Dubai. Hello, welcome to another TP Masterclass. Everyone is so welcome. Oh, someone put in that they are ready for impact and transformation. Exactly, because today we have a special guest coming too. So make sure that you are tuning in all the way from the beginning to the end. We have people from Kenya also joining us. Hello, everyone. If you're also putting something on Instagram and Facebook, hello, wherever you're tuning in from, welcome. You have just welcome. And if this is your first time joining the TP Masterclass, I want to say a big welcome to you. Just drop first time in the chat so that I can welcome you properly. As this is not just a class, this is a family because we call ourselves the TP family, and we are so glad that you found us today. And if because you're also new and this is your first time, you're probably wondering where to begin all this journey from. Okay, oh, we have Nana Ohene Kumasi Asante who's tuning in for the first time. Hello, everyone. Um, everyone, welcome every first timer in the live chat. We have Oscar also joining for the first time. Hello, welcome to TP Masterclass. I hope today's TP Masterclass will be very insightful and impactful to you. Okay. And again, because this is your first time, make sure that you are going on our YouTube channel, clicking on the playlist, and you will see our previous TP masterclasses. Where I want you to start from is the video called What is Really Trading Psychology, as this video will really help you understand what we do here in this community every single day from Monday to Friday, and then especially on Saturday. Okay, and that video will really help you what trading psychology is, and it will build that foundation for you so that every future episode that you watch for the TV masterclass, you have the understanding of what really is trading psychology or what really is the mental transformation that we have built here on this platform so far. So from Monday to Friday, we post what we call the TP declaration. It used to be on our community tab on YouTube, but then we moved it to the website, Cheqona.com. So I think every day, 6 p.m., we post the declaration for the day on there. So make sure that you're always going on the website to get your declaration for the day at 6 p.m. UK time, as it's just a powerful picture with few words written on it. So make sure that every time you see it, speak it over your day, speak it over your system, everything that you do before trading. Make sure that you are speaking to yourself for alignment before you trade for the day. So another thing I want to bring your attention on is just remove every distraction from your environment right now, because we are about to get into education mode and I wouldn't want you to miss anything that we will share today. So make sure that you are grabbing your notebook, your journal, your anything that you use to take notes, whether with your pencil, your pen, anything, marker that you use to take notes. Make sure that you are grabbing it right now and giving us your full attention of everything that will be taught today. So make sure you are not missing anything. Okay. And one quick serious reminder is this space is built for healing, clarity, and truth. And if anyone in the comments is trolling, spamming, or distracting others, we will quietly remove you from the stream. It's not personal, so don't take it personal. It's just for brand purposes. We wouldn't want you to distract others when others are very serious with the information that we share here on a daily basis. Remember, today we have a special guest coming. His name is PK Forsen, and I know if you're in Ghana, you know him. He's an amazing guy, and I can't wait for you guys to learn every single thing that he's about to share with all of us. So make sure that you are giving him your full attention. So without any further talking, I'm going to stop here for today and stay tuned for more. Thank you, everyone.
It's a mind game. You heard me. Trading is a mind game. Fix your mind, fix your trading. Fix your mind, fix your trading. It's a mind game. You heard me. Trading is a mind game. Fix your mind, fix your trading. Fix your mind, fix your trading.
Family, today
It's a mind game. You heard me. Trading is a mind game. Fix your mind, fix your trading. Fix your mind, fix your trading. It's a mind game. You heard me. Trading is a mind game. Fix your mind, fix your trading.
Hello?
Fix your mind, fix your trading.
Alright. Can you all hear me? Just signal to me in the chat if you can hear me. Okay? Just signal to me if you can hear me. Just signal to me. I'm happy to be here. It's the TP Masterclass. Just signal to me if you can hear me. Let me go to the comments so I can see. Okay, so Falake says you can hear me. I want to see more people. Just let me know if you can hear me. Just let me know, okay? Just so that I know that we are all on the same page, okay? Falake can hear me. Chacos, Raphael, Bright, Precious. Okay, I know we are now here. Okay, so finally we get to do this. So I know that I have about I have about 30 minutes over here, and so I don't want to take so much time. For those of you that know me, I do sessions for 9 hours, 6 hours. We're just going and ascending, we're talking and we're teaching and we are learning so many things. But today I have only about 30 minutes to be able to teach you about something that I believe is going to drastically change your life. Today is not just a session that's going to give you information, but I'm here to be able to give you some form of transformation, I believe. And so I don't want you to come into this session lightly. I want you to take your notebook, take your pen. I want you to intentionally decide to be able to pick something that you know is going to take you to the next level in 2026. Okay, that's what I want to say. So first things first, I just want to say a big thank you to Cliff Cheqona, who is the founder of the TP Masterclass, together with his team, Shelly, Solomon, and everybody else that I've been introduced to. I just want to say thank you and kudos for the good work. I think I love what you are doing. No, I think I love what you are doing, and I've been supporting Cliff for quite some time now. And he's on a mission. He's on a mission. I've met a lot of people, okay, but it's not everybody that you know that is somebody who embodies a mission and a vision. He's one of those people, and he carries it even in his speech, his conduct, everything about him just oozes that mission out. And I just want to just bless God for his life and what he's doing and the movement that he's creating and the type of ideas that he's putting to the world. We don't have so many people like him, and so I just want to be able to just honor him. And yes, that's what I can say. All right, Cliff and everybody. Okay, I hope you're all on the page. So if you are ready and excited for today, just put a fire emoji. Put a fire emoji in the chat so that I know you are here. Just put a fire emoji in the chat. Put a fire emoji in the chat. Just put a fire emoji in the chat. Then I know that we are all here. Okay? If you're excited for today, put a fire emoji in the chat. Okay, perfect. Put a fire. I want to see more fire emojis. Me, I depend on the energy you give me. So if you give me low energy, you probably will get low knowledge. If you give me high energy, you get high knowledge. People, I need to see you. Are you excited? Are you excited, people? All right, perfect. Okay, so there's one way that I always start my speaking engagements. Okay, today I don't want to do that here for some reasons. Okay, so today I'll just go straight into everything. But what I want to say is this: I just want to give the core part of that message of how I always start. Knowledge is not power. That is one of the things that we've been told. Knowledge is not power. The everyday people tell that knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. It is the application of knowledge that is power. And so raw knowledge or the raw information is not going to just change your life. It is how you take that knowledge and then apply it. That is when everything is literally going to change for you. So today, you're going to hear a lot of things. You're going to hear a lot of wonderful things, a lot of wonderful stories, a lot of wonderful ideas and concepts, a lot of things that is going to literally shift your mindset. But if you do not go and apply the information, then you do not have the power that we are talking about. And so, first things that you need to note is that applied knowledge is power. Knowledge in itself, raw knowledge is not power. It is the applied knowledge that is power. Okay. Hmm. Somebody type power in the comment section. Type power. Type power. 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 All right. Okay, let's look at the time. 6:27. Somebody type power. Type power. I want to see if you're here. Type power. I'm going to. And another thing, another rule that you want to know. Okay. Um, there are certain things that I'm going to say inside of this conversation that I might not necessarily say you should write down in the comment section or in the chat section, but if you believe that that line or anything that I said hits you differently, or you just want to be able to highlight something that I've said, I want you to put it in the chat section. What happens is that when there's the live replay, other people can be able to see those things, okay? And also for people who are watching, some people also get you highlighted for them to be able to pick some of the things that they might have missed one way or another, okay? So I want you to be able to feel free. Anything that I say, don't wait for me to say, type it in the chat section before you type it. Anything that I say that you feel is a game changer for you, something that's illuminating you one way or another, just type it down. And so that's what I can say. And if you're able to do that, I think we'll have a smooth ride today and we will make magic. Okay, perfect. All right, so quick, I just want to just say a quick prayer. Father, I thank you for what you are doing. I thank you for the people that are present. I thank you for everybody that is here today. As I share these ideas, let the spirit of wisdom be made manifest today. Let us be able to do things so that we don't just receive information, but this is a time of transformation. May people's lives be transformed. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen. Okay. Right. So today I'm here to talk about identity. Okay, that's what I'm here to do for the next 30 minutes. I'm just here to talk about identity. And I want to be able to talk about identity as a tool for your success in the marketplace, for the success in whatever you are doing. I know this is a trading community, a lot of you are trading, but I promise you, your identity is one of the things that's going to determine how you trade and how you go into the markets one way or another. And today I want to be able to help you to understand the dynamics of what identity entails so that you can be able to leverage it as a superpower. I always tell people this: anything that you do not understand, you can never manifest. You can only manifest what you understand. You can only manifest repeatedly what you understand. So, for example, if you see somebody with a particular type of result, and they are always replicating that type of result, it is proof that they understand something. So you can only understand what you manifest. The type of identity that you need to be able to have in order to get some type of results, you need to understand the dynamics of identity, what identity entails in the first place. The moment you begin to understand that, that's when you can be able to manifest that resolution of what you understand. That's what you need to understand first of all. So most people don't they think identity is one of these conversations that you just have just so that you can be able to just it's just one of those personal development conversations. But that's not what identity is just about. Okay. So what I'm going to do in this conversation is this. I'm going to first of all help you to understand the importance of identity. Then we go into talking about what identity is. Then we talk about every other thing with regards to how to be able to rebuild your type of identity into the success type of identity. And so I'm going to help you to understand these things. Now, I've been doing this on a personal level for for, for a lot of people as a coach, as a consultant. There's one lady I remember, I always tell this story. If you've been to any of my programs, you probably hear this. Doris. I remember Doris came to me one time, and this was she was even a young lady trying to go for a student leadership position. And in our session in its more encounter, she was so timid, she was so shy, and she was going for a vetting whereby we vet her for a position. And essentially, She was not, it's not that she was not prepared, she didn't know everything. Her identity was wrong. Trust me, in just about a 3 hour session, I helped her to rebuild her identity. The next time she went to the vetting, she was the highest scored as person in that particular vetting, that particular interview. This is just one of many things that I've been able to help people do. I've helped people to have identities whereby they used to have identities that didn't serve their cause, that didn't serve the mission, that didn't serve what God had called them to be. And now these people are leading courses, they have hundreds and thousands of followers, they have they have enviable incomes and stuff like that. And so I want you to be able to understand that once you get your identity, once you're able to understand how to be able to get your identity in check, your whole life is going to be in check. Okay, so that's just by the way. So let's get to everything right now. And please, when it's time, please do let me know for the team for the TP Masterclass. Please, when it's get at the time, please let me know that I have 5 more minutes. Otherwise, I wouldn't really be able to monitor myself. I know why I'm saying this. I know I'm saying this. So please keep me in check one way or another. All right. So let's all get started right now. Okay. So first things first, people, is this. You see, identity is what controls your entire life. I like to say this: your identity or identity in general, identity is the operating system of your destiny. Let me say this again. Identity is the operating system of your destiny. Everything in your life revolves around your identity. Everything, quite literally, revolves around your identity. Everything. Most people think that the conversation of identity is just limited to the scope of knowing who you are. But that's not what identity is just about. Identity goes beyond the scope of knowing who you are. Identity, as I've said, is the operating system of your destiny. It is what controls your actions, is what controls every other thing that you want in life. You see, let me say this, okay? Your identity will literally determine the thoughts you think, the actions you take, the outcomes you have, and the manifestations you experience. Identity literally determines the thoughts you think, the actions you take, the outcomes you have, and the manifestations you experience. Let me say that one more time. Your identity will literally determine the thoughts you think, the actions you take, the outcomes you have, and the manifestations you experience. You see, identity is that thing that controls your life, is the steering wheel of your life. Now, why am I saying this? You see, every decision that you take, every action that you decide, every path that you decide to take, every thought that you think is really driven by your identity. I'm telling you, there are some people who you realize that identity is what controls your purchasing decisions. It's what controls the people you date. It's what controls the events you go to. You may not understand this, but the moment I begin to paint the picture for you, you understand that identity is what controls all of that. Quite literally. I have a client, and I remember when we were first enrolling that client. He's a Nigerian, he's based in the UK. And when we were first enrolling the client, we were showing him one of our offerings. And when we were showing the offering and then we were done, the guy just said, "Oh, I'm buying the premium. I'm buying the premium." Like he didn't even analyze anything. He just says, "Oh, I'm buying the premium offer." And you can literally tell that. And that was my first introduction to the man. He didn't say anything. He just said he's going for premium. Every other thing that he has been in our business, we've been working for him for the past 3 years. You can literally tell that his identity is what shapes everything that he does, the decisions that he takes. He only flies first class. He's always talking about getting things at the best quality. He doesn't compromise on quality just because his identity is in a certain way. He has been wired in a certain way that only allows him to be able to take premium actions, allows him to be able to think premium thoughts, and he's just able to do everything in a way whereby he's trying to get the most quality things out of life. Some of you make cheap decisions because, or it's not because you are cheap, it's because your identity has been programmed to be cheap. There are certain decisions that you take, and you see the thing. I'm going to talk about more about identity when I start breaking what identity truly is. You understand that if you experience some type of consistent outcomes in your life, for example, you are always you're always yeah for example, if you speak in front of a crowd and you are always shy, you're reluctant. I'm telling you, that's a product of identity. All of these things are identity caused. And so your identity is the steering wheel of your life. Your identity is the operating system of your destiny. It controls the thoughts you think, the actions you take, the outcomes you have, and the manifestations you experience. Your manifestations in life are directly correlated to your identity. If you manifest highly, so the level of your identity is going to determine the altitude or the height of your manifestation. Let me say that again. The level of your identity, so determine whether you how you view yourself. The manner in which you view yourself is what is going to determine the type of manifestations you experience. Most of you are experiencing a low resolution of the type of life that you want to live, all because your identity is sabotaging you. And so the moment you understand that every decision that you take, even the food that you choose sometimes, is all part of your identity. You do understand that the reason why you crave to eat fufu is because you have an identity as a Ghanaian. An Italian cannot just wake up and decide to eat fufu like a typical somebody who's just born in Italy. He can't just wake up because his identity is as an Italian man. He doesn't. That's not even within his scope of existence. He probably hasn't even heard of the word the food called fufu before. But it's part of your identity. It's in your reality. It's in your scope of reality. And so your identity can allow you to be able to crave that food because that's within your reality. Okay, so there are certain ideas that do not gravitate into your scope of reality because of your identity. Some of you cannot even think $1 million ideas because you don't have $1 million identity. Some of you can never even make up to 100,000 Ghana cedis because your identity cannot support that amount of income. Before God begins to change anything in your life, before God begins to hand you over any blessing, the first thing that He does is that He changes your identity or He remodels it. God does not work with people. You see, if God wants to be able to take it to a next level, He will take your identity first to the next level. That's how it works. The level of your blessing will follow the level of your identity. The level of your manifestation, I told you, is directly correlated to your identity. I want to see people. I'm saying a lot of things. I want to see people type some of the stuff. Type some of the stuff. I'm saying a lot of things. I've said a number of things already. Okay, so what am I? What am I going to? What am I driving to? What I'm saying is this: your identity controls your life. It controls your purchasing decisions. It controls the actions you take, the type of career you choose, everything. Now let me paint this picture, okay? This might seem like an extreme example, but it's so. A lion has an identity of a lion. Okay, you see, the thing about identity is that identity is not only for self. Identity will literally identity literally defines how the world will respond to you. Let me say this again. Identity is not just about you. Will also define how the world will respond to you. So, for example, in the Bible, there's a prophet called Balaam. I don't know who here knows that story. And essentially, he met a donkey, and the donkey just started talking, and he was so shocked. Why? Because the identity of a donkey, the donkey is not supposed to be talking. That is the donkey acting outside of its nature. The thing about identity is that the type of identity that you have, literally determines the type of nature that you emit. So, for example, if you meet a donkey talking, it's going to become awkward. So you cannot act outside of the identity that you have. You cannot manifest a nature outside of the identity that you have. So, for example, if you meet a lion, the lion's identity that is a lion. If you meet a lion, the lion is doing meow, or maybe the lion is doing rock, 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 and the lion is barking. You'll be shocked. Why? Because the identity of the lion does not facilitate it to be barking. So you can only act in accordance to the identity you have. You can never manifest a nature that is outside of the identity you have. It's as simple as that. So if your identity is poor, you cannot manifest an identity that's going you cannot manifest a life that is going to allow you to be rich. So your identity controls everything about your life. It is the operating system of your destiny. Identity is the operating system of your destiny. Hmm. I've just started though. I'm just laying the blueprint. And so, the moment you now understand what I'm trying to do, I'm just helping you to understand the gravitas and the importance of what identity does for you. Identity is not just about you, but it literally defines and determines how the world is going to respond to you. Because your identity will allow you to project something, an idea of yourself, and the world is only going to respond to the type of identity you have. Listen, even in business, I teach something. I say, like, people buy things for three main reasons. Number one, they buy things for utility reasons. Number two, for aesthetic reasons. And number three, for identity based reasons. Utility reasons is the normal function. People just buy something just because of the function of it. So, for example, you buy a phone because of the function of its the utility reason, which is to call people and communicate. Or you can buy it for the aesthetic reason because it looks nice, and it's fancy, it's big, it has a full screen and all of that. That is what you call an aesthetic reason. Then we have the third one, which is called identity reasons. People make purchasing decisions because of their identity. So, for example, they buy certain cars because that car will make them look rich, or that car will make them feel rich. So they make certain purchasing decisions because of identity. So in life, there's a certain level in life whereby it's not just about utility or aesthetic. Your identity will determine the moves you take and the type of purchasing decisions you even make. Even as traders, maybe when you're thinking of when to buy, when to sell, I'm not a trader. However, I know for sure that the type of trades that you decide to take, whether you decide to pull out of the market at this time when the market closes, or whatever the terms might be, is determined by your identity. Hmm. Now let me zone into this conversation. So now that you've understood that, what at all is identity? What at all is identity? What at all is identity? Give me a moment. One of my phones is beeping far away from me, it's disturbing me. So please give me a moment, a second. Uh, right.
It's a mind game. You heard me. Trading is a mind game. Fiction mind, fiction trading.
Right, I'm back.
Fiction trading. It's a mind game. You heard me. Trading is a mind game. Fiction mind, fiction trading. Fiction mind, fiction trading.
Thank you so much. Sorry for that. I had to quickly stop that. Otherwise, you would have just been hearing my alarm and my alarm on one of my phones. So anyway, I don't have money yet, but I find it difficult buying anything of low quality. Exactly. That's all because of your identity. Your identity. That's all because of your identity. Okay. And so, I'll talk. So let's talk about what identity truly is. Okay. Let's talk about what identity is. Now, identity comes from the. Now, if you don't know me, okay, one thing about me is that I've been studying etymology. Okay, I've studied etymology since 2018. Etymology is the study of the origin of words and languages. Now, if you do not know, 90% of all English words that are multisyllabic come from Latin roots, and those 10% of those multisyllabic words come from Greek roots. What is multisyllabic? Multisyllabic means multisyllable. In other words, something that has more than one syllable. So a word like to, like T-O, that word is one syllable. But a word like together, that's a multi-syllable word, okay? And so 90% of all English words that are multisyllabic come from Latin roots. The other 10% come from Greek roots. And so sometimes in order to understand certain words, certain concepts, you've got to enter into the etymology to truly understand what it means so that you can be able to dissect the true definition and the original intent of that word so that it can help you to contextualize what it means in today's language. Mm. Now, the word identity comes from the Latin word known as identitatem. Identitatem means same. I'm going somewhere. Identitatem means same. Do you know what that means? Same or sameness. That means that like the art of being the same. Because identity is the force that keeps you consistent. What this means is that any type of consistent results that you always experience in life, whether negative or positive, as long as it's consistent with something, it's always got to do with your identity. What does this mean? Now, you see, the reason why it's same is because you've got to show up the same in every setting. That is why like identity. You see, when you have an identity, I mean, identity means that it's the same. That means it does not change easily. It's the same. It does not change easily. So if you experience some same outcomes in your life, probably there's something that you are always doing. Maybe like when you get money, you're automatically always like you are always spending it to do something. It's as a result of an identity, probably. And you see, the thing about identity is that identity comes from programming. Identity forms your programming. And so your identity is the proof of the programming that has gone into your system. And so if you, for example, if you get money and you find that you're always using, before the money comes and you're trying to do anything useful with it, you've already spent it on something, like some way, somehow. It always happens to you repeatedly. It's the same outcome, the same. Keep that keyword in mind. It's that same outcome everywhere. You know that the sum is you don't change that by changing a habit. No, you don't change. You see, some people will say, "Oh, just all you got to do is just change your habit." No, no, no. Some things are not about the habit. The habit is only the fruit of the root, and that root is the identity. And so, before you can change a habit, you first have to change your identity. The reason why people cannot, I'm not somebody who goes to the gym, okay, but I understand that if I want to be able to go, okay, hey, this half, wow, 8 minutes. I see. But if you want to be able to go to the gym, it's not just a habit of going there, it's an identity. You first of all have to pick that identity that you want. Maybe of being so big and well built and all of that. And so that identity is what is going to inform the way, it's going to inform and allow you to manifest habits that will lead you to your outcome. That's how identity works. So identity is about any time that you want a repeated outcome in your life, what you need to do is that you need to look at your identity. If you're experiencing some similar outcomes, an outcome in your life that is consistent, maybe every time you go in front of a stage, you freeze back. You can't do anything. It's because your identity is wrong. Maybe, and I told you that your identity forms part of your programming. If you want to find out why your identity is a particular way, go look at your programming. And so probably you've been programmed that way. Now you've probably been programmed that way by friends back in school. They told you something. Oh, you whenever you talk, you don't sound nice, or whenever you talk, you just spew nonsense. If somebody tells you that, and probably they told you that as a child, probably those things are in the back of your subconscious mind, and so that will just allow you to manifest those kind of habits every time you go out in life. And so you realize that your that programming is what is going to sabotage you and sabotage everything that you do. Now, That is what identity is. So identity is what is responsible for consistent outcomes in your life. That's what I want you to be able to understand. Okay? Identity is the force that keeps you consistent. So if you want to experience consistent success, you need to be able to tune your identity to a success identity so you can experience successful outcomes. The root of every outcome that you experience in life, the root of every outcome you experience in life is your identity. Please write that down. The root of every outcome that you experience in life, or every outcome that you have, every manifestation you experience is from that identity. Now, there are two types of identity. Let me start moving into where so that I can quickly pivot and then we end everything. I don't have so much time. Okay. There are two types of identity. There is something called inherited identity. And number two, there's something called constructed identity. These are the two types of identity. If you want to be able to see, if you want to be able to have an identity, I've not even started the identity conversation. I've just helped to understand why it's important and the idea and the dynamics. And I've helped to understand the dynamics of identity briefly. And I've helped to understand what identity is, right from its etymology. But I want you to be able to understand the two types of identity. Because if you don't understand this, you wouldn't even know how to be able to rebuild. Now, we have inherited identity and we have something called constructed identity. Inherited identity is the type of identity that you did not choose for yourself. Most people are living with identities that they did not choose for themselves. Other people gave it to them. And that other people could be your parents, your environment, the class, your teacher. These are things that were ascribed and chosen for you, and you accepted them willingly. It's either you accepted them out of force or out of ignorance. Ignorance in the sense that you probably didn't know better, and so you just accepted that identity that was given to you. Or force as in it was consistently told to you, and so that programming you were forced to accept it, even when you did not want to accept it. With your like it was told to you, so it became a form, a part of your consciousness, even when you did not want to willingly accept it. And so you can inherit identities either through ignorance or through force. Now, what does this mean? Inherited identity is what people ascribe to you. So probably your family, there are certain things that you are trying to do, and then they'll say, "Oh, we don't do this in this family. We don't do this here. We don't do this here. We do this way. We do this." The way you grew up, those are inherited identities. Maybe when you go speak somewhere, somebody say you are shy. That label that you've now taken upon yourself to say that I am now shy, that is not you actually being shy. Some of you are probably not shy to do certain things, but it's just because you've inherited identities that people have ascribed to you. You've inherited and taken those things. You can call inherited identity, ascribed identity, things that people give to you that you accept, willingly or not willingly. And so there are certain labels that some of you operate with that are not things that you desire or things that you really want, but you find yourself just living with them because it has been put into your programming. These are things that you've been able to inherit. Like people say things to you and you inherit those identities. You are shy, or you are not an extrovert. Some of these things are labels that you did not discover yourself. If you discovered it for yourself, that is fine. But if somebody gave it to you from your childhood, and they put a label on you, that is not your identity. That is an inherited identity. And so, real change in your life begins when you migrate from the realm of an inherited identity to the realm of a constructed identity. Let me say this again. Real change begins when you migrate from the realm of an inherited identity to a constructed identity. Now, the thing about inherited identity is that an inherited identity is not all the time negative. I'm just pointing the negative sides out of it. You could grow up in a rich household whereby your inherited identity is things that promote your life. That is why a lot of rich people and rich kids are able to do a lot of big things. It's because they inherited identities from their successful people that always kept them optimistic, kept them to be able to allow and introduce things into their scope of reality that allow them to be able to act in a certain way that brought certain results in their lives. And that's because they inherited an identity from a positive environment. But you can inherit an identity from a negative environment. It could be people, and it's not that your parents are bad or your friends are bad or your school that you went to is bad. They could actually be doing things from a good heart, but just because their reality opposed certain things, that they accepted certain identities and they began to ascribe their inefficiencies and their inadequacies on you. Am I teaching something? And so, what you want to do is that I want you to be able to begin to, you see, okay, let me just talk about it. There's so much I want to say. Oh my God, I don't have so much time. There's so much I want to say. Let me move to constructed identity. I'll proceed from that angle. Don't worry. I'll proceed from that angle. Now, after you have inherited identity, we have something called constructed identity. Constructed identity is that identity that you want for yourself. It's the type of identity that you want to possess so that you can be able to experience certain outcomes and manifestations that you desire. Because remember what I said, you cannot express a nature different from the type of identity that you have. Identity causes alignment. Identity causes alignment. And so your actions are in alignment with the type of identity that you have. And so the moment you act outside of that alignment, that's 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 an identity problem. And so this is the whole thing. So what you want to do is this. Okay, you need, if you want to be able to, you have to migrate from the inherited identity realm to the constructed identity realm, whereby you begin to now choose certain identities for yourself. You see, first of all, the Bible says that you are the light of the world. That is an identity over there, because you are connecting with something. You are connecting with a label. That's essentially what an identity is. An identity is an ascribed label that you've accepted, or is a label that you've accepted that was either constructed by you or ascribed by somebody else. It's a tag. It's a tag that you can call yourself. And so whatever you name yourself is what you end up living up to. Anyway, let me not go into that discussion. Otherwise, you can go into certain different things. And so that's why even in that realm of what we see with that movement of the LGBTQ, they call something, they say identity. And they say, oh, I identify as so so and so. That's so they pick something, they pick a label, and then they begin to act like that. Hmm. I don't want to talk about that. Anyway, so that's that whole idea. An identity is that type of label that you put on yourself. You act in accordance with the type of things that you call yourself. Anyway, so constructed identity that you want to be able to intentionally, for example, what you want to do is this. You see how a constructed identity works is this. You first work from, you have to reverse engineer. You have to do some reverse engineering. What essentially, you pick an outcome that you desire and try to rework your identity to meet that that rework your identity to meet that outcome, or rework your identity to the frequency of that outcome. So your frequency of your identity should match the frequency of the outcome. What does this mean? Simply, if you want to be a successful trader, that is that identity. That is why there's something in life. Okay, true success does not come by having. There's something, a formula that has existed before time. It's something called be, do, have. Be is that, you see, you cannot have anything that you are not. You are not. You can only have things in life that you are. Hmm. Be, do, have. It's a simple formula in life. Okay, be, do, have. Essentially, you have to first be, then you do, then you have. So your actions and your outcomes first are in alignment with who you are. So what you have to do is that you have to, in order to be that person that can have the things that you want. So what this means is this: be, do, have is this. You cannot have millions of unless you see, most people, you see, I had somebody say this. Okay, he said millions is what you have, but a millionaire is who you are. Essentially, people become millionaires even before they touch millions. Why? Because that is who they are. The identity is first that before the outcome follows. You cannot have outcome. You see, identity always precedes outcome. An outcome can never precede an identity. That's not how life works. So if you want to have millions, you want to be a successful trader, that is what you want to have, that is the outcome you want to have. You then have to reverse engineer that to the identity of what a successful trader is. How do they think? What type of confidence do they operate with? Are you getting me? So if you want to successfully migrate from the realm of an inherited identity to the realm of a constructed identity, in the constructed identity realm, what you do is that you pick the outcome and you reverse engineer that outcome back into your identity, because identity always precedes outcome. Identity always precedes outcome. Write that down. And so essentially, you want to pick that outcome, rework your identity to that. So then, with all this being said, so pick what you want to do is that you want to pick that outcome. So, for example, I want to be one of the most sought after speakers. That's the identity that I wanted on myself, or that's the identity. At least that's the calling. So, for example, let me even speak in Bible terms. That's why the Bible says all things. Uh, And the first thing that God was trying to do with Abraham when he wanted Abraham to now have a child, he didn't just give him a child. He first changed his identity. He said, "You shall now be called from Abraham to Abraham, from Jacob to Israel." Identity changes. Identity changes. When God wants to work with you, what he does is that he first changes your identity, your outcome follows next. Anyway, so now he was called Abraham. What does that mean? That meant the father of many nations. So every time somebody called him that, he was now supposed to now, like, that identity was, he called himself that to the extent that this outcomes began to manifest in that direction, in the direction of that identity. It's as simple as that. So with that being said, how then do you rebuild your identity? How then do you rebuild your identity if you have an identity as something an identity that is sabotaging you? Because when I spoke to Cliff, one of the things that he said is that he wants us to talk about identity, because identity in the sense that we should deal with the things that are sabotaging people, or that is self-sabotaging. And so that's why I'm like hitting hard on this side. So how then do you rebuild your identity? I want to talk about this quickly, and then I'll just close the curtain on this for now, and then we shall just call it a time, because I don't have so much time here. Number one thing is this: if you want to be able to rebuild your identity or change your identity, number one thing is this: desire. That's the number one thing you need. Step number one is desire. All change begins from desire. I have never seen anybody change anything without a desire. Even your clothes. If you want to change your clothes, you desire to change. For example, you are wearing something, like you see that coat over there in the store, so you go there and be like, you want to wear that coat, so you desire to wear that coat. So whatever you are wearing, you now go into the closet and buy that thing and wear to change it. All change begins from desire. So is the thing with identity. Even when you want to change your environment, you desire to move somewhere else. It begins from desire. You want to move from Ghana to the UK, you desire that you probably want to live in London. All change begins from desire. In fact, let me be a bit more specific. Um, all change within your control begins from desire, because you can experience certain changes in your life that are outside of your control that you do not desire. But all change within your control begins from desire. Your identity is one of the many items that is within your control. Now, what you need to do is that you need to desire that outcome before you can do anything about it. So you need to be able to intentionally develop a desire for the outcome. Most of you want a certain outcome. You want to be able to possess a certain identity of something that you are trying to achieve, or you want to be able to remodel your identity into something else, like a successful something, an identity that serves the purpose of your life, an identity that serves your mission, an identity that's going to profit you. What you need to do is that you need to be able to work on your desire to be able to be something that you need to desire for that change. And so all change begins from desire. And so if you are trying to rework your identity, you first of all need to work on developing a desire. In fact, the number one reason why most people still have negative desires is that they've gotten too comfortable in their old identities. That's why I'm talking about desire. Because desire essentially is you moving out of that comfortability realm into the uncomfortability realm, because you need to feel some discomfort with your old identity to move into the new identity. You need to feel some discomfort to move from that old identity to that new identity, and it begins with desire. In order to feel that discomfort, you need to desire the new identity, that new outcome that you want. If you are shy, you are not confident, there are so many things wrong with you, what you need to do, ladies and gentlemen, what you need to do is that you need to be able to desire a new identity. You need to desire to be confident, otherwise you'll remain shy the rest of your life. You need to desire to look healthy, otherwise you're going to be fat the rest of your life. That's how it works. You need to desire to be rich, otherwise you're going to be poor the rest of your life. I have to say that one. All change within your control begins from desire. So what you need to do is that you need to form some desire. How do you form desire? Desire comes from falling in love with the outcome. You need to fill your mind with the outcome. In other words, you need to be conscious of that outcome. What is consciousness? Consciousness is simply a state of being whereby your soul, your spirit, and your body are in intentional alignment with an idea. Let me say that again. Consciousness is a state of being whereby your soul, your spirit, your body is in intentional alignment with an idea. That is consciousness. Consciousness comes from the Latin word known as concere. Concere means to be mutually known. Mutually means that if I'm talking about an individual person, if I use the word mutual, mutual means you and I, two people or three people in an agreement. Mutual. We all agree. But if I'm talking about you as a human being, I say be conscious. In other words, if I want to interchange the word conscious with neutral, and I say be neutral, in other words, be conscious, what does that mean? That simply means that you're that and once you're an individual person, there's no mutual party. The only mutual parties in your being is your tripartite state, which is your soul, your body, your spirit. So all of that need to be in oneness, in agreement, in alignment with a particular idea. That is consciousness. So you need to be conscious of that outcome. You need your soul, your spirit, and your body to agree that we need to get rich. And so, because we need to get rich, we now fall in love with that outcome. Once we fall in love with that outcome, you know what is going to stir up within us? Something called desire. When desire comes, that is the first step to be able to developing that constructed identity. Did we get that? Step number two is that you need to decide. So first one is desire, second one is decide. Decide, you see, the word the word decide comes from the Latin word known as decidere. Decidere means to cut off. You see, when you decide to, you see, choosing to do something and deciding to do something are not the same thing. They are completely different things. Yes, somebody would all change begins from desire. Yes, please know that I said all change within your control begins from desire. All change within your control begins from desire. Thing number two is decide. The word decide comes from the Latin word known as decidere. Decidere means to cut off. And you can fact check me if you want. This is what I do. Right? And decidere means to cut off. To choose to do something and to decide to do something are two different things. When you are choosing something, what you are doing is that you are playing with the options. I choose to do this. It's like you are entertaining other options. To decide means to cut off. What that means is that you cut off every other option and you decide, you make a decision. When you're making a decision is not like I'm trying this. A decision means I'm all in. I am going hard on this. If you want to move from, if you want to do something about your identity, you've got to not just desire, you've got to decide. Decide from today that I am going to have this identity and I'm doing away with that old identity. For me, my identity for me stems from the Bible. My scripture is Psalm 82, verse 6. That says, Ye are gods because you're children of the Most High. So I walk into rooms with God energy. I always say this. I enter any space, every negotiation table, every place I go consult and train for, and I've trained some big companies. That's why some people are asking me, how were you 22 years old and you were training big companies? It's all because of identity. Because my identity was so steep into the fact that I am a god. And so when I negotiate and when I go into spaces, I was only 22 years old, but they were not doing business with a 22-year-old. They were doing business with somebody who has an identity as a god. People don't hire people. People hire identities. People don't do business with people. People do business with identities. People don't work with you. People work with identities. So that I decided, and deciding comes from intention. Okay. In other words, like when you are supposed to be intentional about deciding. So what that means is that when I decided for me, I decided that every step of the way I'm going to manifest, I'm going to act, I'm going to move into rooms with God energy. I decided. And so I used to have an inferiority complex. My identity was broken. I used to feel shy when I hold the mic and all of that. But now I speak to thousands. Last year alone, I did about 70 speaking engagements. How was I doing this? It's because whenever I walk into a room, I walk into rooms with God energy. No wonder I was sharing stages with ministers of state and stuff like that. Because I move with God energy. I decided that every single day of my life, I was not going to let words tame me down. I was not going to let situations make me feel less of myself. I was not going to let any external force make me feel less of who I am. I am deciding, I am intentionally deciding, I'm cutting off every other option. I'm not letting anything into my peripheral. I am going and I'm deciding to manifest a particular identity because identity does not come on a silver platter. Identity comes from hard work. If you want to manifest an identity, you've got to decide and intentionally manifest that identity. Am I talking? Am I teaching something? And so for me, I intentionally and I decided to. So if you want to, so you desire, then you decide. You decide, intentionally decide to you intentionally decide to manifest that identity, to do something about that. Number three thing that you need to do after you decide is that you need to declare. That's why when I joined and I saw something they said you do TP declarations, I was so happy because you see, identity doesn't just come from just being in your mind. You've got to speak your identity. You see, when you see identities begin to form shape when your thoughts begin to metamorphose into words. Your identity begins to gain shape when your thoughts begin to metamorphose into words. Do you know why? Because words carry energy, words carry destiny, words carry possibility. Words carry energy, words carry destiny, words carry possibility. So the moment you begin to speak, it begins to shape. So that's what declare is. Now, declare doesn't mean that you probably might do affirmations and stuff like that. But declare essentially means that you need to voice it out. Because you know what? Because you see, most of the identities that you have, now let me explain why you need to declare. Most of the identities that you have, they proceeded from somebody else's mouth. In other words, most of the identities that you have, they formed, those identities that you have were shaped by words that were not yours. So, in order to counter those identities, you need to be able to speak words to be able to fight those previous words that were installed into your programming. It's words against words. So, declare is you not just declaring for declaring sake, but it is a war against words that were spoken that formed your identity. It's a war. That's why we declare. You don't just declare because a speaker said, come and declare, come and say, I am rich, I am poor. No, it is you literally waging war against words that proceeded out of somebody else's mouth. Because your family, maybe you're growing up and your family said, oh, but you know, we are not as rich as these people. You know, we are not rich. You know that we come from a modest background. Those things are things that were spoken in conversations. And so you bought them in your mind, but they were spoken from somebody else's mouth. They came out as words. And those things entered into your being, infiltrated your being, and you became this who only thinks poverty and takes poverty inclined decisions. And so if you want to be able to now move, you need to declare. You've got to declare because you are speaking words. Those words are waging war. Those words are not just ordinary words. Words are not just a bunch of letters that come out of your mouth. Words carry energy, destiny, possibility. Hey, don't forget that God created the universe with words. If you want to construct or create your identity, you've got to do it with words too as well. Am I speaking to you? Just let me know if I'm teaching you something. Okay? So words, I mean declaration. Okay, what it does is that it defends you. It defends. It defends. You've got to speak something. So if you are trying, you see, and thing about identity and declaring is that declaring does not only counter old programming, it counters forthcoming programming. Because in your life's journey, identity is a constant fight. That means that you don't just deal with identity and say, oh, I've dealt with my identity. No, identity is every day, is a battle every day. Because you will meet people in life's journey, or you will meet and encounter situations and circumstances that will be a threat to your identity. So for example, if you want to have the identity of being rich, being wealthy, being successful, Your bank account is that thing that might be saying something else that is different. But your identity needs to remain in check, and that comes from declaration, because you need to speak. You need to keep constantly reminding yourself. The thing about identity, a lot of times, especially when you're rebuilding it, is that it might seem like a delusional activity, but I promise you, when you begin to see the fruition of it, you begin to understand the power of identity. Identity is the operating system of your destiny. So desire, decide, declare. The moment you begin to embrace this, you can rebuild your identity. You can be able to rebuild your identity. Desire means that you need to intentionally fall in love with the outcome. You need to be conscious of where you want to be. Identity your identity gap is literally, you see, who you are now and where you want to be is usually, there are many gaps. One of the gaps is a knowledge gap. One of them are other gaps. One of the major gaps is an identity gap. How you see yourself between who you are now and where you want to be. Hmm. Ah, okay. I think at this point I can take my break. But I hope you've been able to learn a lot of things. I don't want to go. I don't want to talk so much, because that's me. I can do a whole session. There's so many things. You see, when I begin to teach, one things about me is that when I begin to teach, more things begin to enter my scope. Things begin to enter my scope, and so right now I'm just picking so many things, so many signals that I can just begin and teach so many things out of. Okay, but I need you to understand. You see, let me just end with this. You see, the Bible and you becoming a born again person is all a thing about identity. Okay, the Bible in itself is like an identity shifting book. It tells you that you are a king, you're a royal priesthood, you're a holy nation. All of these things is conditioning to the heaven type of identity, the God type of identity. I with me. That's why God said, "My thoughts are not your thoughts, my ways are not your ways." In other words, his identity. You see, that's the thing also about identity, is the same. If you're a Christian here, identity, as I told you, that term means the same. For a Christian here, when put in biblical context, your identity needs to be the same as what the Bible says you are. So if your identity is not in alignment with what God says you are, if you're a Christian, then you are not really working identity. Because God God said you are God, but you are walking to rooms with with you're walking to rooms like a dwarf. God said you are a king, but you are manifesting like a papa. That's life. I told you, I give the example of the lion and if you see a lion barking, you'll be shocked. Why? Because the lion is acting outside of its nature of its identity. So if God says you are a king, okay, and you are manifesting like a papa, you realize that, oh, your life outcome is not matching who you are, your identity. So you've all got to, so the moment you keep the identity going, even though you're papa, with time you start adjusting your behavior to become like a king, and you start doing everything to become like a king or a queen or the royal that you are. Anyway, I just hope this was life changing for somebody. I hope this is going to be able to shift one or two things for you. um, I just want to just end on this note. I've taught some stuff at least. Maybe one of the times when the clip is in Ghana, we can do a much deeper session. Well, we should do that one time, like a 6 hour session. Yeah, I like those type of sessions. I call them immersions. Those are not just event speaking engagement. Those are immersions. I like to do that. People around me, they know we do immersions, because sometimes you can't just change out of just a session. Then you've got to like do an immersion. And so I like immersions. One of these times we should do an immersion, do 4 hours, 3 hours, and we begin to diagnose and analyze and break things down, and we begin to open the scopes of your minds, and begin to help you to understand how to be able to manifest what you truly are. And so I just want to end on this note. Just understand this. Identity literally determines the thoughts you think, the actions you take, the outcomes you have, and the manifestations that you experience. So if you think wrong thoughts, it's because you have a wrong identity. If you take wrong actions, it's because you have a wrong identity. If you experience wrong outcomes, it's because you have a wrong identity. If you manifest wrong experiences, it's because you have a wrong identity. So please understand this. Identity determines the thoughts you think, the actions you take, the outcomes you have, and the manifestations you experience. My name is Papa Paulson. Thank you so much. Cliff from the team, Shells, are you here? Okay, yeah.
No, PK, you cannot just leave just like that. You
So,
know, guys, I don't know about you all, but just whether fire emojis, number ones in the chats, whatever that you can do to make sure that we are honoring a brother here, please do it. When I say a brother, I'm talking about a brother in Christ. But beyond just that, I want to tell you guys something before we leave him to go. What you guys just heard is what people pay for. I know the work he does at the background and on the front end as well. Many people know you, PK, as the impact you are bringing into this generation. But for me, one thing that everything that he is saying, it's not like he has read it and he's saying it. I have seen from his works, and I remember when I went to Ghana for our TP Masterclass, and I told him that I'll be coming to Ghana. And when I come, I was seeing that time. I think I was not in Dubai. I was in Nigeria for a General Assembly meeting. And he said, yeah, you can come through. And he said he would come through. And I said, okay, I'll also come through. And I went there. And when I went there, he gave me a stage unplanned without checking if I can speak. What a risk. I mean, social media is social media, but all I'm just saying is that he is a humble man. If he is talking about identity, truly, I have seen it. I've seen the kind of caliber of people he works with. I've seen some from images. Even when I entered the room, brother, I saw the people that was in the room with you. You introduced some of them to me, and I went and I did my research, and I said, oh my. Maybe I should have stayed a little bit much more longer. But this is just to say that God bless you so much. I know people have a lot of questions, but I want to say something. I can see all the fire emojis coming up on the screen. Thank you so much, guys. We really, really appreciate that. I know you guys are really, really, really impacted today. I want to say something before Paukwesi leaves us. Is that I could feel his burden, and I want to take this opportunity to say something. As a teacher, when you are going, you could tell when you have not finished transferring because of time limits. And as I'm here, I'm like, oh my God, I had to tell the team and say, leave PK alone. That is, I was going to be ready to stay here. I told them, leave him alone. Don't tell him. It's almost, I know that people sometimes say people's, time, what do they call it again? Concentration level or whatever. But for here, we don't care about that. If you want to leave, you can go and sleep or go watch Netflix. It's up to you. But it takes time to transform minds. So I just want to say, PK, thank you so much. And you are right. We definitely need to do this again. Guys, if you want us to actually create a transformation bootcamp in collaboration with PK, just drop number 8. I want to make sure you're paying attention. Drop number 8 in the comment section right now. And Solomon, I want you to start bringing up the number 8 on the screen so that people can see it. The purpose of this is that this alone can't be enough. But PK, I have good news for you so that you don't have to worry, because I know you're a coach. We have actually started an identity series. The funny thing is, this is not a coincidence. So we did part 1 last week. We are doing part 2 as a continuation. So even though, you have summarized the whole entire series for me. So all I have to do right now is to feed them what maybe is left so that they can grow more. So we're doing part 2 today, but all the same, Mr. PK Forson, I appreciate you. Your time, your efforts here, you are here, and I know we're going to be doing many things together this year, God willing. I truly believe this. God connected us for a reason, and we have a lot of work to do in this generation, and you play an important role. Myself, on behalf of my team and TP family, we pray for you. We declare over your life. Guys, wherever you are right now, I want you to stretch your hands over this screen and declare over PK Forson's life. Let's declare over his life. let's declare over him that truly he is the light of this world and a town built on a mountain. He cannot. It's impossible for him to be hidden. Mr. PK Person, you cannot be hidden. You cannot be hidden. That's what you have come and you have done in this community today for us. I declare and I decree that you are the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. And when others are saying there is a casting down, forever you and your family and your ministry and your mandate and your coaching, your business will forever say there is a lifting up. And the greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. This year is your year of new status. And as you are going, and know that you are going to be traveling in and out in different places, we declare over your life that in the mighty name of Jesus Christ, that as you are going out, you are blessed. As you are coming back, you are blessed. Father, we thank you for the life of your son. And I know what you are going to do in this generation in his life. Thank you, Father, for bringing him here to us today. Thank you, oh God. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. PK Forson, thank you so much for everything that you keep on doing. God bless you. I honor you so much. As soon as I'm done with my part of this segment, I will definitely call you and say a big thank you to you. All the same, guys, drop some ones in the chat finally for PK. We honor you. We love you.
Are we going to take any questions or not today?
Yes. No, if they have any questions, that is fine by me. Guys, do you have any questions right now? Based on everything you heard from me, I wrote down here. He says, anything you don't understand, you can't manifest. My God, that line hits me. and he says, anything that you don't understand, you cannot manifest it. You cannot, it is impossible. And it says, because you know what, one of the things you said, I was writing down here. One of the things that you said that strike my mind, he says, because of your identity. I summarize it in my own understanding. Because of your identity, some ideas can't even come into your mind. Some ideas can't even come into your mind. And identity determines the thoughts you think, the actions you take, and the manifestation you experience. Anyways, do you guys have any, let me see in the comment section right now if we have any. Do you guys have any questions? Any questions, anyone? I think these guys have coin. Okay. All right.
If you have any question, you said a verse in Psalms, and I want to know the full chapter. Psalm 82 verse 6. Psalm 82 verse 6. Yeah, God.
Psalm 82 verse 6.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any other question? Does anybody have any other question? I just want to take maybe one or two. Or if you don't have any question too, I'll just relax and then I'll let Cliff take you to another level.
Okay. All right, guys. If you have any questions, you guys already know. PK Forson. If you're not following him already, please do so. Kindly do so quickly. In order for us to make it very easy for people to know instead of them confusing, you can ask him questions directly also as well in his Instagram. I'm sure his team will write it down for his next segment. If I'm not mistaken, he says, how do I begin to change my identity? I think these questions are, but anyways, let me yes, let me share my screen quickly for you guys. Okay, so you can follow PK Forson here. This is the official PK Forson's Instagram page. And I'm sure when you Google him, you will find him. But Instagram, I'm pretty much sure that if he's busy, maybe his team will respond for him. But if it's not, please make sure that you do follow him. Ask him any questions you have, and we can take it out from there. There are some certain questions as well that if you have, some of them may be answered in my segment as well, because we are going to be continuing our part 2 of the identity series we've started. So you can still stay till the end, and you can make sure if you're not bloated, stay to the end. If you want to basically also get up and stretch, stay to the end. But with that all being said, if you guys don't have any other questions,
I think there's a question. There's a question I just saw.
Okay, can you bring it up on the screen again for me, please, Solomon?
How do we rewire something?
How do we rewire our identity if our environment don't favor us?
Yes, exactly. Is it on the screen?
No, this is the one you're talking about. How do we rewire our identity if our environment don't favor us?
Yes, exactly. So I just want to quickly take when you say desire, does it relate to my ambitions? Okay, so I'll take those two questions. So this question and then
Okay.
that other desire question, and then I think I'll call it a day. So I'm just trying to at least write it down, and then I see. Okay, perfect. So how do you rewire your identity if Cliff is gone? Cliff, if you go, I won't know
I'm
where
here.
to stop.
You
Okay,
can bring
perfect.
me back on the screen, Solomon.
I need Cliff over here, right? Okay, so how do we rewire identity if the environment doesn't favor us? So essentially, you see, I have last year I did a teaching called the Light Year Advantage, and I spoke about something called the wisdom of atmosphere. And essentially, your atmosphere is very key to how you see yourself. Now, it's not just your environment, your atmosphere. So, in this world that we live in, your environment is not even goes beyond your physical environment. It even goes to your digital environment, what you consume on a daily. Because you actually spend a lot of time now more with your phone than even with people. So the thing about environment is that you cannot compromise on the environment. You have to make the move. That is why Abraham had to move. God had to tell him that you have to move away from your father's house. You have to move away from Terah because Terah was an idol worshiper.
Mm.
So it's more than and so. If you have a father who's an idol worshiper, your environment will force you to move outside of the faith that God wants you to have.
Mm.
And so that's the thing. So even Moses had to move away from Egypt. He moved away from Egypt because I mean of he had to run away, but it was God's way of moving him from that environment and taking him to a place whereby he can be able to have the encounter with the burning bush. You cannot have
Mm.
certain type of encounters that will change your life if you're still in certain environments. You have to make the move. Now your environment it might not necessarily mean a physical environment, it might just mean changing your friend group. I'm not saying cut them off, but limit the time. Even for me, when in my identity changing, because a lot of people don't know, I used to be a rapper. I think Cliff, I have not told you before. I used to be a rapper. My page over there used to be a modeling and rapping page. I used to PK for that and housing. No, it used to be that. Before I made that change, all the things that I did was that I kind of limited my time with some people. That
Mm.
limitation was gradual until I never talked to some people anymore. And that happens because you can't compromise on environment when it comes to identity. So what you want to do is that you do two things: reduce the people physically, the people that you kind of you kind of talk to every time, especially if they are in opposition with your identity. You need to do that. Number two, your digital atmosphere, not just your physical atmosphere, your digital atmosphere. One of the things that I did, one of my secrets, is that I intentionally created another page. I have another page, separate page on Instagram, where I was following everybody that I believed was successful in doing something that I wanted to do, and I was consuming their content every day. I still have that page today. In fact, I opened that page more than my main page because my digital atmosphere has to be in tune with the type of identity that I need to have to be able to get to where
Mm.
I want to get to. I told you that
Mm.
identity will determine the thoughts you think, the actions you take, the outcomes you have, and the manifestations you experience. Four things. Because the
Mm.
outcomes are not the same as manifestations. Different things for a
Mm.
different day. Anyway, so that's what you need to do. You can't compromise on environment, move away from that environment, but do two practical things: physical atmosphere and digital atmosphere. So change that. If you want to be a successful trader, I want you to start. I'm not saying another thing is that about the digital atmosphere too is that you need to be careful because too many voices. If you are drinking from too many wells, is a problem. So that's why it's good to have one trusted voice or a few trusted voices. But you need to be in constant, you need to constantly be basically consuming those things. So maybe Cliff, if Cliff is that trusted person for you, consume the stuff. He puts out contents there for a reason. It's not just for one day you participate. You need to. I'm telling you, there are certain things that I listen to certain messages almost 80 times. There's one message. There's one message I can point to. I listen to more than 80 times. 80, 80. You can, how can that's my digital atmosphere. Anyway, Now, second question. Is it please do I have a YouTube channel? Not per se. I have School of Lumen. School of Lumen is my community whereby I share stuff and we teach deep things about the marketplace. And so you can join that. Just type School of Lumen or just type Purpose in School of Lumen. Um, you see that on YouTube or anywhere. They just yeah, School of Lumen. School of Lumen is the event. Is the when we had our events that Cliff spoke at, it was through the School of Lumen, through the auspices of School of Lumen. So School of Lumen is where we teach these deep things. Now somebody says, when you say desire, does it relate to my ambitions? Yes, but when ambitions is not a strong word like desire. Desire comes with fire. Desire is more intense. An ambition doesn't sound as intense as a desire, but yes, it's related to your ambitions. But it should come with an intense flame. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'll say for now. Okay, so thank you so much. I'll end on this note. And Cliff, thank you so much as well.
Okay, thank you so much, PK. God bless you so much. I really honor you. Guys, we're going to take a few seconds break. We come back and we'll go into the next segment. Thank you so much.
It's a mind game. You heard me. Trading is a mind game. Fix your mind, fix your trading. Fix your mind, fix your trading. It's a mind game. You heard me. Trading is a mind game. Fix your mind, fix your trading. Fix your mind, fix your trading.
TP family, a quick reminder, visit cliffcheqona.com to assess the resources that support what we do here every week. On the platform, you'll find the TP Masterclass, Mindsets Declarations, practical tools focused on discipline, clarity, and consistency in trading, as well as announcements and other important updates to keep you informed. If you were intentional about growth, this is where learning, structure, and mindset comes together in a way that supports real progress. If you want to stay aligned and keep improving, make the platform part of your routine. Visit cliffcheqona.com.
What TP Masterclass really is. TP Masterclass is a transformation masterclass that happens every Saturday. It is designed to reshape the way you think, the way you respond, and the way you perform, not just in trading, but in any industry where your mind plays a major role. Even though anyone can benefit from it, the majority of people you'll find here are traders. Why? Because trading is one of the few fields where your mindset, your emotions, and your discipline are tested every single day. Every session blends psychological lessons that help you understand your thinking and your behavior, spiritual lessons that strengthen your inner conviction and identity, practical lessons that give you structure and direction in real life. TP Masterclass exists because most people don't fail due to lack of skill. They fail because their mindset is not prepared for the level they are trying to reach. This masterclass equips you with the mental strength, emotional stability, and clarity needed to perform at a high level. Whether you are a trader, an entrepreneur, or someone trying to grow in
It's a mind game. You heard me. Trading is a mind game. Fix your mind, fix your trading. Fix your mind, fix your trading.
All right. Welcome, everyone, once again. How you all doing? I hope today you learned something. Are you guys tired? I hope you are not tired. We have one more marathon to go. If you are excited to keep on learning, we are still on identity, by the way. Today is part 2 of our identity series. If you are not tired, drop your excitement in the comment section. You're going to learn a lot, which you have already learned. You have started learning already. Powerful segment from my brother, a friend, and a brother in Christ, PK, for an amazing segment that was. If you are excited, if you are really excited, just let me know in the comment section and then we take it out from there. drop some number ones, drop your excitement. It's game time. We're about to continue on this segment. And before I do that, I just want to say something that's in this year. You know, one of the things that I've just realized in my journey as an individual is that you need to be ready to consume and you need to be ready to grow. Today, I'm so happy that, you know, I told PK, just do your thing. And he did his thing, and it complements the series we are doing so much. And if you do pay attention, I can assure you by the grace of God, your life truly will not remain the same. And one thing that I want to say is that, you know, gone are those days where, you know, we were allowing ourselves to be very proud in receiving information. In this age that we live in, even a 13-year-old kid can say something. And if you are able to be humble to receive, something will happen to your mental faculties. And so please, while you are here, fight distraction, fight analysis, fight these things and listen. There is always a honey in the carcass. Listen, and this information can truly transform you. Today we are coming to continue on our part 2 of our series. And before we go on, I want you guys to understand something. We talk about psychology. And you have heard me many times, and I explain that psychology is the study of. And so, study of what? The study of the mind, emotions, and behaviors. So today I will try to make sure that I really speed up a little bit so that we don't take too much time, but stay with me. The purpose of this masterclass for today, apart from having the continuation of our identity series, you are going to understand something. There are people right now, they know they are learning. They know that they are consuming, they are putting in efforts. But the question right now is, why is it that my life somehow still feels stagnant? It's like I'm not going forward the way I am supposed to be going forward. I'm sure if you're a Christian, you have even said amen to the prayer of may God push you forward, and we cancel the spirit of delay, stagnation, and all of that. I'm pretty much sure you have received that amen, but still something is still not changing. Today you will understand. Remember, this 5-part series, we started last week, and we're talking about identity. And every single thing that PK was saying, I was so happy here, and I was like, my God, I hope people are receiving this information. There is a reason why God is allowing us to be able to teach this particular topic in this year. A lot of people's identity is distorted. And so they can't even think. They can't believe. They will say, yeah, I believe I'll be a millionaire. You don't believe it, because life is laws and principles. If you truly believe the things you are saying you believe, life has no choice but to let those things follow you. And so last week, we started by talking about what identity truly is. And the big question was, how do I know my identity? And I said, you can only see and understand your identity when you study, you become self-aware. Whenever you are under pressure, that is who you are. Not that is who you must remain, but that is who you are. And so if you are somebody that you are coming from a household whereby every day they were complaining about money, chances are excellent you will see money differently. I gave an example, and I said the person that grew up in somewhere in the Emirati space with the father, grandfather, everybody having a whole lot of money in the Emirati zone, they won't understand some certain jokes. I was basically coming few days ago at home, and I was just meditating on how the environment we live in now, even if you speak to, you know, kids who came from a very good home and a successful home, they will try to even provoke you and insult you. But that is when the kid who comes from a very good home will probably only insult you and go like your head like a PlayStation box, you know, your head like Burj Khalifa, you got a nose like granola, you know, So many different things, and you could tell that you can. You be like, oh, like okay, thank you. I'm not supposed to feel bad. But gone are those days, if you grew up in where I grew up in, insult is not just words. It's because the Bible calls it the scourging tongues of men. The Bible calls it the scourging tongues of men. It does something to your soul. There are growing up, there are days, my grandmother, I don't know whether she's joking or not, she can insult me in a way, and I could grow up with the insult. It comes to pain. I'm saying this to say that identity, the environment where identity dwells in, that particular type of identity, a lot of things feels different. And so we started by, I was explaining, and I said identity is a container. I was looking for something to give you an example. Identity is a container. And I love the way PK said, habits is not what actually affects you as much as you think. Habit is a byproduct of where it's coming from. So identity is the container. Out of it is your belief. So I started explaining, and I said that your belief is what supports that identity to make it logical. So if you are somebody that you don't believe, money stays in your life because of the way you grew up. Every single time that you are even buying something. I remember when we started making something good for ourselves in the beginning of our early days in this journey. I will never forget, even when I'm going to a restaurant and the food will cost me a couple of $100, I feel bad because I'm supposed to go and use this money. I can even use it to send it to this person, blah, blah, blah. I was feeling guilty. But these are the things you do that makes you become exposed to life. That helps your mindset. But because of where you are coming from, you will feel guilty for spending on yourself. It's an identity problem. So if you are coming from somewhere where money feel like there was all about scarcity, your identity is that. Your belief system will support it. Then it leads from belief system to personality. Then from personality to habits, then habits to behavior. The outcome, the results that follows will just be a byproduct of every single thing that you believe. That was the beginning of what we started from the part 1 of the identity series. Just to explain to you, so you can add what Parkwesi was teaching today to the part 1 to let it make sense to you. By the time we will get to part 5, you will understand how to rewire to rewire a new form of identity. You will understand when we get to the part 5. But today, before I continue with the part 2, I'm about to teach something first, but you need to understand the dimension of which psychology faculty, I would say, that this is coming from, because this is a psychological community. And so what type of psychology is this? So that you understand that we are not just teaching opinions, because there are certain things that are abstract, there are certain things that are relative, and there are certain things that are objective. You may have heard me say this before, that there are levels of realities. We have what we call the perceived reality. It is the way you see things. That form of reality is what supports your identity, the perceived reality. Oh, I feel like this masterclass is wasting our time. It's your perception. I'm not wasting anybody's time. If you know the kind of effort, the team, myself, or Parkwesi to come and sit here, it means we are not joking. So even if you think we are joking, this is your perceived reality. Then we have what we call experienced reality. Experienced reality is what people will say, I tried this Forex thing, I did this digital business, I did this network marketing business, this so-called blah, blah, blah. It didn't work. I tried YouTube, it didn't work. It's an experienced reality connected with perceived reality. That type of reality is what you advise people on based on what you have experienced. And we have what we call objective reality. Objective reality is things like 1 + 1 is 2. When you jump from a story building, you will go down because of what we call law of gravity. It's an objective thing. You don't need to believe me for it to work. Then we have what we call spiritual reality. Spiritual reality is how you are hearing me now. When we talk about spirit, we're not talking about witches and warlocks. There is a side to that dimension. But the main definition I always give to people when we talk about spiritual realm is anything you can't use your physical eyes to see, but you can't deny their existence. They have power. So you are able to listen to me right now, not because I have a camera, not because I have a laptop, but because of internet, you are not seeing it by waves or by colors, but you can hear me because it is working. Are you with me? So there are this form of topic you are learning. It is from a place of objective reality and spiritual reality. When we talk about identity, there is a very beautiful story in the Bible. Well, it's not beautiful by the way it ended, but it is interesting. When God came after Adam have sinned, God said, Adam, where art thou? Where are you? God was not trying to say, Adam, I can't see you physically, but your identity in the realm of the spirit, where you are supposed to be stepping. I can't find you. Where are you? And from that time till now that we are here, it was impossible for Adam to operate from a certain dimension because his identity was taken away from him. His perception has changed. How did his perception change? Because Satan told the couple that the day, oh, don't worry, if you eat it, your eye will not open. But it is true that the day they ate it, their eyes truly opened. It changed their identity. It changed their perception. The Bible says immediately they said they were naked. Something has happened to their perception. They saw themselves differently. Same people who were not having clothes on, all of a sudden said, we are naked. Something has changed. And then immediately, the question God asked Adam was, who told you? Very important. So identity is something that enters your mind by the things you hear as a kid, by the things you see, by the things that surrounds you eventually forms you. And so the dimension of the conversation we are having today, yes, there is a spiritual component to it, but there is also an objective side, which is facts by science. And the dimension of the department of the psychology I'm teaching you today to connect the part two is called developmental psychology. You need to be able to understand that I'm not speaking so you can go and do your research. That's why I'm calling it objective reality. It means you can pick this information, go and research and say, the things these guys said, it is true. I have tested and I have seen. The dimension of this information we are teaching you today, I am trying to, because I didn't do this in the beginning, but I want you to understand today before we go on. It's called developmental psychology. I will not go much into it. I just want you to understand that it's coming from a place of an objective reality. It's called developmental psychology. I have a simple definition. I want to let you write it down and we keep on going on. Developmental psychology studies what is supposed to develop inside a person. So in psychology, we truly believe that as a human being, you need to evolve. You need to be developed. Yes, physically it's there, but there is also a part of you that needs to be developed internally. That is where identity comes in. So developmental psychology studies what is supposed to develop inside a person at different stages of life. Please underline the word different stages of life. Because if you understand the purpose of my foundational truth I'm giving you here, you understand the topic for today, which is the part two of identity we're about to talk about. Developmental psychology studies what is supposed to develop inside a person at different stages of life. And what happens when that development is delayed, disrupted, or incomplete. I'm going to repeat the definition again quickly. Developmental psychology studies what is supposed to develop inside a person at different stages of life and what happens when that development is delayed and disrupted or incomplete. Are you guys with me? Very important that you understand this. So there is a thing about aging. Aging. So there are two things that always happens to a man when you are being developed or you are aging. Aging is connected to time. Aging is connected to time. That means you can age without being developed. That is why you can find an old man and you can ask him, how old are you again? And he said, I'm 50 years old. Wow, 50 years. You are wondering what happened. Because as far as you know, the age is supposed to match the mindset. So age, people sometimes say is just a number. They are basically just saying age is just connected to time. You just growing does not mean that automatically something will find expression in your life. There is an intentional act that needs to happen. So development does not happen automatically. Development is tied to experience and adaptation, psychological and emotional as well. So you can age without developing. Are you guys with me? Now, what happens at each stage of development? I'm going to let you guys understand this. At every stage of life, a person is expected to, underline the word expected. At every stage of life, a person is expected to learn something internally, stabilize something internally, and integrate something into who they are. Now, what this simply means is this. I'm going to run through quickly of this because this is not my topic for today. I just want you to know which part of psychology that we are drawing this teaching from. So we have types of developmental psychology. I'm going to run through it quickly and we'll go into today's topic because we have to wrap up today early. Physical development. This is where your body, your brain maturation, your motor skills, and so on and so forth. Then number 2 is cognitive development. So when a psychologist is studying somebody's development, they look at your physical development and say, this person is growing. They have the right features. Number 2 is cognitive development. Number 3 is emotional development. As an individual, you must grow emotionally. Number 4, social development. Number 5 is where my topic is today, identity and psychosocial development. Identity/psychosocial development. That is where the sense of self, purpose, contribution, responsibility, meaning comes from. So if somebody is studying somebody to know how they are being developed, it comes from the dimension in psychology called developmental psychology. So 5 types of developmental psychology I'm just giving to you today quickly. Physical psychology, physical development, cognitive development, emotional development, social development, and identity/psychosocial development. Now, before we go into my topic for today, for me to release it quickly, I want you to understand something. When we talk about something like this, why I'm talking about this is for you to understand this clearly now. As a human being, right now, if you are here listening to me, it means you have a desire to grow. And it is a very good thing, and I pray that that desire never fade away this year. You see, you are always going to get to a point in life that life will hit you and that reality will become clear in your head. For me personally, back in the days, this problem. My identity, I always say that if you would have met me many years ago, chances are excellent some of you right now wouldn't like me because my identity was not good. Even up to now, I'm still developing every day because you have heard me saying this before, that as a human being, you have to unlearn and you have to relearn and you have to keep learning. We are always learning. And it doesn't also even seems to be enough. As an African person, your identity is different. As somebody who grew up in America, your identity is different. I saw a video a few days ago about iShowSpeed, one streamer who is going around all the time streaming and everywhere. And currently right now, he's in the continent of Africa streaming. And many people are confused about why is it that where iShowSpeed is meant to be Africa. But for some reason, every nation he has gone into does not look like the Africa people know outside Africa. And I saw reaction videos of people crying, young people saying they have been deceived about what they thought Africa was. And it broke my heart for a split second. And I also laughed at some of them because the reality is that the identity other people, the fact that you live in Ghana or you live in Nigeria does not mean automatically you are defeated. There are genuinely people in the United States, in Europe, in different parts of this world, and I can assure you, their mindset is not developed as much as you think. You see, but reality is that I'm not here to sound political or whatever, but I want you to understand the context right now. The part where you grow up does not, the geographical state of where you grow up does not necessarily make you immune to negative thinking. It is the things you allow into your mindset that creates that form of understanding in your head. So you can be in Ghana right now, Zimbabwe right now, Tanzania right now, Nigeria right now, and by the understanding of this information you're about to hear, nothing will stop you from going forward. If you understand the context of the information you're about to hear today, identity is not changed by the country you are in. Identity is formed by what enters your mindset, your heart. And so when you are a child, I understand you had no choice but to, unfortunately, some certain things will enter you. But now that you are old, it is time for you to fight. So wherever you are right now, before I introduce my topic for today, I want you to tell yourself that I am being transformed. I want you to declare it with anger. I don't care wherever you are, whether people are watching you, whether you are not alone, but enough is enough. There are many people right now, the books you have read it, the videos you have watched it, the podcasts you have learned it, you have watched it, the trading you are learning, but something is still missing. You don't know why you keep on sabotaging yourself. Something keeps on taking you back, somehow for some weird reason, back to exactly where you don't want to be anymore. And sometimes we question if we are even amount up to this. But I'm here to tell you today, the answer is in this series. The answer was in the information you were hearing PK Forson telling you this evening. And I'm here to tell you as well, even though we are still doing the series and we are not done yet, by the information you're about to hear, something will happen to your mindset. Wherever you are right now, declare to yourself, I am being transformed. My mind is rewiring. That I know that I am wired in a certain way, but I can rewire. First, because of my understanding of the objective side of what we call neuroplasticity. That neuroplasticity is the ability for your brain to take different forms. It is objective. If this is true, then I can rewire. So wherever you are right now, declare to yourself that I am being transformed. Enough is enough. 2025, life didn't seem to change, no problem. We are in 2026, and thank God, 2026, January 17th is already new. You can rewire. I want you to tell yourself right now that you are being transformed. I want you to tell yourself right now that I'm being transformed. Wherever you are right now, tell yourself, I am being transformed. You are being transformed, ladies and gentlemen. You will not leave this session the same way again. Today's topic that we are about to talk about is a part. There is one thing identity will always do. The first thing I want you to understand is I want to balance this. I don't want you to hate identity. I don't want you to hate identity. I want you to understand identity. Identity is not negative or positive, but it could be. What that simply means, when we talk about identity, identity is not, as soon as you hear it, oh my God, my identity is bad. No, identity is just identity. But you need to understand it. That is the purpose of the first three parts of this series, what I am doing. My goal is to get you to understand it, not to hate it, but to become aware of it and know it is an important component part of your destiny if you want to become successful. Are you with me? And so many people are here wondering, when am I going to become successful? What does that even mean? What does success means to you? There are people I have met today in my consultations. And if you listen to them, you could tell this person have no reason to be sad. But for some weird reason, upon all the things they still achieve in their life, somehow, they are not fulfilled. It is not lack of resource. It is lack of fulfillment. And you cannot be fulfilled when you don't even know what you are trying to fulfill from connected to the right identity. Are you guys with me? Very important you understand this. So today I'm talking about a very important dimension of what identity does. Without you understanding your identity and you becoming aware of it and making sure it is aligned to your going forward, you can't go forward. So today my topic right now is this. Very simple topic. Stagnation. 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 Why am I not where I'm supposed to be? I've been learning trading for 3 years, 4 years. At least, even if I'm not going to become a millionaire, some level of some resource consistently must show. Why is it that I make money and I give it back to the market? Why is it that when good things is near my door, before I could realize it goes away? Stagnation. Is it a spirit? Is it a demon? Why? Why? I want to first of all give you the topic. I've given you the topic. I want to give you the two definitions. Stagnation is the state of wanting to move forward, but not progressing. Stagnation is the state of wanting to move forward but not progressing. Stagnation is the state of wanting to move forward but not progressing. Definition number 2. Stagnation is what happens when a person reaches a stage of life. My God, I love this definition. Stagnation is what happens when a person reaches a stage of life that requires new internal capacity, but that capacity was never developed. Oh dear. Stagnation is what happens when a person reaches a stage of life that requires new internal capacity, but that capacity was never developed. Stagnation is what happens when a person reaches a stage of life that requires new internal capacity, but that capacity was never developed. By this definition alone, you need to understand 3 things. Number 1, this definition alone will link stagnation to development and removes moral judgment and explain why effort doesn't work. To change your life is not effort dependent, it is identity dependent. To change your life is not effort dependent, it's identity dependent. I didn't say to be responsible. To be a responsible individual is effort dependent. To change your life is identity dependent. Now, many times, a lot of people are wondering, is it because I am lazy? Is it because I am not serious? Stagnation is not laziness. Stagnation is not lack of ambition. Stagnation is not lack of desire, and stagnation is not lack of vision. Anytime that, as a Christian, I've seen many people who receive the prayer of I cast out the spirit of stagnation, and 2 years later they are still stagnant. And they are wondering, why is it that this person is going forward after this prayer and then this didn't happen? Today you understand, whether you are a Christian or not, you will understand today why the problem is like this. And I can assure you that when you finish listening to this lesson, when you now go to church or whatever that you do, when you now go and they pray that same prayer again, the way you will say amen will transform your life, because understanding has now been attached to that amen. You will see. The first thing I want you to understand is this. I want to bring my teaching home, because today I don't want to take too much of our time because of what we have already learned. I want to find a way to cook this teaching in a way that it changes someone's mental faculties this evening. Listen to this carefully now. To my understanding and my experience and by objective realities, this is what I can tell you for sure. You may have heard me say this before, that error, the word error is important. Meaning, few months ago on this stream, I taught about time frame, the psychology of time frame. And during my teaching on the psychology of time frame, I explained something very important. There is something you need to do to time in order for you to survive in time. There is something you need to do to time in order for you to survive in time. And so what you need to do to time is to frame time. It is your responsibility to frame time. Meaning you can't do whatever you want anytime. That being said, even if this masterclass is powerful, which I believe it is, I can't teach and keep this masterclass for 15 hours. If I teach for 15 hours, because of what I did to time with the masterclass, I have destroyed the time. Are you guys with me? I have destroyed the masterclass per se. Even though taking a shower is good, if you take shower for 8 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours, we need to make sure we find out what you are doing in the shower. Chief, we don't shower like that. Even though laughing is good, we don't laugh 1 hour straight. There is something you need to do to time. So we started by talking about what different time models that there is. So we spoke about chronos, the chronological sequence of time. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes is chronos. Then we have kairos, the opportune time. So this is how I painted time framing for people to understand. You can pick 2 people. Do I have something to explain? Let's say I pick 2 people here. This remote control and this mouse. 2 people. This person comes to me and tell me, Cliff, I want to transform my life. And this person say, Cliff, I want to transform my life. Both of them said they want to be traders. I said, okay, no problem. I started teaching them how to trade. This person is called Thoughtful Tim. Thoughtful Tim. This is Careless Cow. So Thoughtful Tim comes to me and said he wants to be a trader. Careless Cow also say he wants to be a trader. Both of them want to transform their mind and their life and become successful. No problem. I start teaching all of them the same things. Day 1, beginners. Day 1, beginners for this guy. After 6 months, 1 year, whatever, I've taught them everything that I believe they need to know by the grace of God. Are you with me? Now, after 1 year, this guy only focused on the things he wants. This guy only focused on the things he wants. This guy listened to everything I gave him. You may have heard me saying this before, that when you want to transform your life or whatever it is not a buffet of knowledge. You don't choose what you want. This guy took everything in. This guy only selected what he wanted to learn. So he left and he told everybody he did some of Cliff Cheqona's mentorship program and his life didn't change. No problem. This guy stuck with me. He also hasn't gotten the results he's looking for. So he called me one time and said, Mr. Cliff, right now I've learned these skills and every single thing and so on and so forth. But I don't know why my life is still not moving forward. I said, don't worry. Did you read the books I gave you? He said yes. The leadership books? He said yes. The communication books? He said yes. What about how to win friends and influence people? He said yes. The psychology book? He said yes. You are not a trader yet? He said yes. I said, okay, no problem. And I said, how do you spend your day? He goes, yeah, I'm always home. I said, no, you don't become successful by staying home. So I want you to go to places sometime. Just pick up your laptop and go and sit in places sometimes. He goes like, oh, okay, I hear Mr. Cliff. You mean I should go to places? And I said, but don't go to places you are used to. Go to places that will challenge you. If you are in Dubai, go to places like Atlantis the Royal. If you are in Ghana, places where people will say this is not for us, like Kimpisi Hotel or whatever they call it, go there. Go there. But Cliff, I don't have money. No problem. Just go to the restaurant and just buy water. Eat at home and buy water. What I'm doing to that person is that all the abstract concepts he has learned, we are now going beyond abstract concepts. So he picks up his laptop or pick up his book and he goes to a place like that. Every single week, he goes there like 2 to 3 times just to go and sit down, read his book and see the number of caliber of people that passes there. Different atmosphere, different things. Is doing something to his mindset. So once upon a time, this guy will say things like, this is not for places like us. I told him, go to this place. Day 1, his identity is not changing. Day 2, his identity is not changing. But the more he keeps on seeing these people, the more he keeps on seeing the cars, seeing the things, there is something that it does to you. So immediately, what is going to start happening is that he's going to start desiring things that normally he wouldn't desire. All like this guy that will basically say, can you imagine the stupid things this guy is telling me? He's telling me I should go and take my laptop and then go and sit in the place where we cannot even buy water from there. Me, I want to learn how to trade. He's talking about it. But this guy didn't say that. He went there. Now, once upon a time, somebody will now come and trip on his leg. It's called Kairos moment. So the chronological sequence of his time, every day he's going, every day he's going, every day he's going. He doesn't know what is happening to him, but his atmosphere is switching up. The energy around him is changing because his mindset is changing. One day, a multi-millionaire will trip on his leg because chances are excellent. Every single person there, 90% of the time that sleeps there, somehow is well-to-do. One day, one of them will trip on his leg, and he might be reading a book or his trading chart may be showing. And that person may be a multi-millionaire. And that person will say, what happened? And he said, oh, and then now watch this. The person might trip on his leg, and then thoughtful Tim will say, I'm sorry, sir, I'm sorry. And then the man will say, oh, no, I'm sorry. And he said, no, I'm sorry. It's fine, don't worry about it. And the man will be starting, this guy is not angry. And his eye, for some reason, God for you, will look straight into the charts. And he'll be like, are you a trader? And we'll say, are you a trader? And the man will say, and the thoughtful team will say, yes, I am a trader. I've been trading for 5 years, but we are doing what we can. And he says, but how is your portfolio? And he'll be like, oh, even though I don't have money, but I'm able to do 20% and so on and so forth. And he'll be like, oh, 20%, that is really good. So if I give you this X amount of money, can you do 20%? That is it. That is it. So trading didn't necessarily change his life, but he's going to use trading to change his life because of the other skills he got through the identity that has been formed over the period of time. Now, this same guy could have gone to the same place, but because he didn't read the books, he didn't develop himself, he didn't build good character, the same man can trip on his leg and he will insult that man because he is an angry person. He's already angry. So you'll be like, why did you trip on my leg? You people, when we talk about this, so he will say things and the man will say, sorry. There are many of you right now here listening to me. There are several things you were supposed to have learned 2 years ago that you didn't. This year is testing you. And even though this year your desires have risen up, desiring that new house, desiring that new things will not flow to you because your desire is up. It will only flow to you to the extent that matches your identity that you have come into. So this guy and this guy all learned how to trade for 5 years, but something will happen to this guy. He can't explain. All he knows is he went to Kimpiski. Now this guy will tell this guy, all I did was to go to Kimpiski, but he's lying. That is not all he did. He did many things that came together and exposed him that day to give him that opportunity. So people will be asking, why is it that only me? I'm doing it, but because you are doing the same things we are now doing now, but there is things you were supposed to do then that you didn't do then, and so now you can't get the results you want now. Therefore, while you have gotten the knowledge today, I am giving you a reminder. There are things you need to do now that will count for next 6 months, will count for next 2 years. Be patient, it is coming. So some of you guys are here listening to me and you are wondering why you can't go forward. For many years, they will be preaching and they will say, we cast out the spirit of delay, and I will shout, amen. Still, my life will experience delays. Until one day I realized delay is not the spirit. The spirit uses delay. Delay is a tool, not a spirit. And that spirit is able to hijack your destiny to make you experience delay because of a behavior I call procrastination, the inability for you not to plan. And I suffered a lot. So back then I used to be the guy, I would never plan. It is when I am about to go do the thing and you will see me planning. And that was when I was experiencing delay. When I started rewiring my identity and realized plan ahead, delay started moving away from my life because delay was not a spirit. Delay is not a spirit. Stagnation is not a spirit. Stagnation is a tool that demons can use if you believe in that. But stagnation in itself is not a spirit. Stagnation is a proof that the dimension of the time you are in now, certain things you were supposed to study then, you didn't study it, and now the experience is showing and revealing clearly you are not ready to go forward. That is it. That is it. Are you guys learning? If you are learning, drop some number ones in the chat. So this alone should quickly give you the ideas that no problem. I am not the person I want to be yet. But by this understanding, I know a year from now, I will not be the same person. A year from now. If you guys go and watch our TP Masterclass from the time we started, we have different producer now. The moment the new producer came into TP Masterclass to produce this Masterclass, we started seeing difference of the production. His identity is different from the previous producer. Not that the previous producer was bad. It's just that they are both coming from different identities. So when an identity is aligned with something, the evidence is clear. Are you guys learning? So stagnation is not just you not going forward. Stagnation is an indicator, it's a tool. Just like delay is not denial. If you go to the airport and they tell you they have to delay your flight, it is in your good interest. Well, except in Nigeria, no offense. If you're my Nigerian people, Nigeria, they delay plane for no reason. I've been there, so I can tell. But anyway, what I'm basically just trying to say right now is this. Is that you need to understand, if the pilot says, let's delay this flight, or the people say, let's delay the flight, it is in your best interest. How much more your heavenly Father in heaven? You don't experience delay because he doesn't love you or God doesn't like you to go forward. Delay is an indicator that shows you have a character that doesn't prepare or plan before ahead of time. It's a simple sentence, but don't misquote me. I'm not saying there are not other factors that hinders men from going forward. There is, but I'm telling you, delay is just a tool. Delay is not a spirit. That spirit can manifest through that tool, but it is not the spirit. Same thing with stagnation. Stagnation is a tool that shows you were supposed to have learned certain things. When I started my journey as a network marketer, there are things I learned as a speaker that is helping me today to grow, today to speak. Imagine if you guys who came onto the consultation with me, imagine you come onto the consultation and I'm like, yeah, how are you doing today? Yeah, I'm good. Okay. So, what I'm saying is your mindset is bad. Your mindset is bad. You have bad mindset and your mindset is not good. You are not good. You are not good. You are not good at all. Your mindset is bad. You will not come again. You will not come again. Even if if I tell you, book me and I'll pay you, you won't come. Not because I don't have a consultation. It's because the kind of way I am speaking is not the kind of person you want him to consult you. Are you with me? So there are many things I was learning back in the days, way before I knew I would start TP Masterclass. So what you are seeing today is not coming from preparation that happened in 2025. It's coming from something that happened in 2014, 2015. That is the testament you are seeing here today in 2026. So stagnation exists for this reason. Now, so stagnation is a signal, not a failure. So today, if you are somewhere in your life and you don't know why you can't go forward, I'm giving you the good news. The good news is a signal. You don't even want to go forward. When I started building this brand, many people would tell me, Cliff, a lot of people should know you. I said, not yet, Chief, not yet. I'm not stupid. There are certain things I didn't know. If people would have known me before, they would have insulted me and say I'm wasting their time. Not because it was my intention. It's because there are certain things I didn't know in terms of packaging, in terms of delivery. So stagnation is a signal, not a failure. So anything you want in your life now that you are not getting, it is not because you have not learned in 2026. It's because you have not become in 2026. That is it. And with time, you will grow. I always say this. That is why I said there is something you do to time. So I mentioned Kairos. I've mentioned Chronos. I'm going to borrow one time and bring it into this dimension. We call it Aeon. Aeon is a time dimension that makes sure that you are able to see what could be before it bees or before it becomes. Are you with me? Very important. So in this era that we are in, I'm going to give you guys a quick idea for you to understand what I mean. So what I mean by that is this. I want you guys to write this down. So let's say right now we are in this season of AI season. While I remember back in the days, people were saying, oh, Cliff, there are certain things that, AI, I was hearing them. But it was funny to me because my identity has already been wired to understand life keeps on changing and evolving. So me, when things are changing, I don't follow the trend, but I don't become ignorant. No. So let's say, for example, the person that had many horses. The individual back in the days, way long time ago, that had many horses. If they would have told that gentleman, horses is going to go away and cars will become the new mode of transportation, I'm sure that person with the 100,000 of horses will say, you are crazy, go away. He refused to accept the fact that these horses truly can go away and cars can, but he couldn't see ahead because he was stagnant in a dimension. He refused to go forward. You will understand. Just stay with me. If you understand this today, you will know that everything will be fine. You will understand that you will be fine. It's just a matter of time. So this person will say, oh, I don't believe in cars. It doesn't matter what he believes. The same way back then when they started introducing automatic cars in Ghana, some people didn't want to believe it. They said, what is the point of automatic cars? Today, it's not only just automated, it is also electric. Interesting, isn't it? So back in the days, I remember there are funny comments other people will make and say, manual cars is for men, automatic cars is for women, and people will laugh. It's an identity issue, chief. Who said so? The purpose of automatic is to make the driving easy for you so that you can focus on movement. But the identity will make men crack joke. Right now, certain jokes you understand and you can crack and laugh at. It's your identity that understands it. So in this era, you are telling me, Cliff, so what does this mean for me? Well, I'm about to tell you. What this simply means is this. It means that we are in another era, whether you like it or not. And stagnation in changing in this world that we live in, you have to understand. I wrote down here that in this era, if you don't want to be stagnant in the next few years ahead, I wrote down few things that needs to be alive in you. Number one, learning. Number one, learning. Number two, humility. That means you need to understand Cliff Cheqona may not be Tony Robbins. Cliff Cheqona may not be Marion Golden. Cliff Cheqona may not have 100 million subscribers. But if you humble yourself and you listen to him now, you can hear something that will take you to the next level. Humility. Learning, number one. Number two, humility. Number three, flexibility. Number four, emotional regulation. Number five, beginner mindset. That means even though the majority of the things PK Forson was saying, I know majority of the things already, I still wrote it down. Beginner's mindset. So in this season that we are in, if you were not somebody who was able to become emotionally intelligent by 2025, 2024, you are going to suffer in this year. Because this year and last few years, people are always angry. People are always capping. People are always lying. So if you don't regulate your emotion and you didn't learn emotional intelligence, you will suffer. And your identity will tell itself that, you know what, we don't need to work with people. And you will suffer. Because in this season that we are in, one of the ways you can be able to go to this next level is to know how to leverage. And you can only leverage with men if you can tolerate them. Are you with me? So if you don't have these things in this era, these inner skills, learning skill, humility, flexibility, emotional regulation, beginner mindset, you will keep on saying things like AI is stupid. It won't do this, it won't do that. And a few years later, you will suffer. Not because you are bad, not because you are not meant to make money, but because you refuse to adapt. You refuse to accept the fact that life can change. So stagnation is when your identity protects you to stay where and what you already know. Are you guys with me? Now, let me give you some things to write. Different routes into stagnation. I want you to write down 5 things. Different route into stagnation. Different route into stagnation. Write down different routes into stagnation. Not every single person experiences stagnation in the same order. So stagnation is able to reflect in your life, or not being able to go forward, reflect in your life in 5 routes. Some people maybe all the 5, I don't know why. but everybody may be different. Somebody may be the route number one, I call the ignorance route. Not knowing what to do, limited exposure. Not knowing what to do, limited exposure. Not knowing what to do and you having a limited exposure is the easiest one to fix. Is the easiest one to fix. Then we have what we call the route number two is refusal to learn. You are not only ignorant, but you are refusing to learn. Then route number three is emotional underdevelopment. Inability to tolerate discomfort, inability to sit with uncertainty. Number four is rigidity. Refusal to adapt. You are too rigid. AI is coming, you said AI will not come. AI will take your job, you say no. It's up to you. I mean, if you want to be rigid, it's fine, but time will change. You don't have any choice. Then the fifth one is over adaptation to the past. Coping worked before, now it wouldn't work again. Let me go into the group. Let me talk to you guys for a second. Are you guys learning? Are you guys learning? If you guys are learning, drop some number ones in the chat. Let me talk to you guys for a second. Are you guys learning? Good. Instagram, are you learning? Facebook, are you learning? Nice. It's important, guys. This year, guys, listen, TP family, this year, my goal is to make sure there are multiple 5, 6 figure earners. I'm talking about money. I'm talking about money. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm not talking about good character. Yes, that is it. 5, 6 figure earners. That is a goal this year, TP family members. That you will start to understand the importance of money in a way that you will know money is not about flexing people. I want this community to be the type of community whereby when you look at us, if they don't tell you Shells is a millionaire, you will know. As for Shells, you will know. Anyway, I'm kidding. But if they don't tell you Solomon is a millionaire, you will know. If they don't tell you this person, you will know. That is the kind of community we are building. Are you guys with me? So I'm not just talking just for you to hear. We are angry within our spirit that enough is enough. The way we grew up didn't help us, but we are grateful. Now we are responsible. We will transform. So these are the routes that sometimes it can enter. Number one, ignorance. Number two, refusal to learn. Number three, emotional underdevelopment. Number four, rigidity. And number five, over adaptation to the past. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I'm not teaching how to rewire your identity right now is for a reason. It's because I will do that in part 5, my God. Next week, what we are studying next week? Next week, the part 3 is identity collisions. That means what happens when identity meets money. We will scatter that session so that enough is enough. Enough this year, nowadays, there are things that when you're sitting down, they lie down like this, knowing that your bank account is 1,000. Oh my God. Just this is not vain desire, because if you don't have money, you can't help anybody. Number one, if you don't have money, you can't help your family. There are people who come on a call with me and they say, Cliff, the reason why I want to make money is because I want to help my family. And I said, I understand. They tell me they want to help their family. I said, I understand. And they said, but I am not profitable. I said, I understand. Because the reality is that for you to be able to be profitable, you need to pause on helping your family. Many of you are going to be angry at me, but that's the truth. You cannot help someone if you cannot help yourself. So you need to give yourself 2-3 years. I know some of you, your family right now needs your help, but chief, you can't do it. This has been the bondage in Africa. My God, this has been the bondage. Mother passed it on to daughter. Father passed it on to son. Then you too, when you grow, you live a queer, mediocre life. And then you sacrifice to give all to your family. And then you expect your children to sacrifice early for you. No, chief, we can break that cycle. My God, we can rewire that identity. That my child will come and say, Daddy, what do you think when I do, if I grow up, what should I do? When you grow up, know how to spend my money. That's it. When you grow up, know how to spend my money. They said if you don't come from a rich family, let the rich family come out of you. We can break this cycle. Ghanaians, we can break this cycle. Nigerians, we can break this cycle. Uganda, we can break this cycle. I know Mama needs you now. I know Popsy needs you now. But there is something you need to do first. If not, that cycle, you will transfer it to your family, to your kids. Wherever you are, I want you to declare to yourself that no way. This masterclass is dear to my heart. I want you to say no way. No way would you keep on doing this. You will break this cycle. Your identity must be rewired. No way. No way. If no trader came from your family, you will be the first one. If nobody in your family is playing golf, you understand the metaphor, you will be the first one. No way. That identity must shift. That when you buy something, there are many of you here, you have never even desired shopping in your life. No. You deserve it. You deserve it. I know. That bag is expensive, but no issues. You can buy it. You don't buy it to show off. You deserve it. You have worked too hard. Remember, we are still in the range of modesty. If you know me, you know I'm a person that believes in modesty. But what I'm trying to tell you right now is that you deserve good things. You can choose to say you relax on it, but you only choose not to buy, not that you can't afford. That sentence will not be found in your home. That sentence, we can't afford, will not find expression in your home. Are you with me? Be angry in your spirit. This year, don't just talk, do. Don't just say, this is not for people like us, it's for you. The hotel, the restaurant is also for you. You don't have to eat there. When the waiter comes, just say, give me just water. Don't you want to eat? I am fine. I'm looking into it. Just look into it for 1 hour and get up and go. No police can arrest you. But it is also for you. Because if you don't think it's for you, then it can never be for you. So when we reach the part 3, we'll talk about identity collisions. When identity meets money, when identity meets responsibility, pressure and success, how does it look like? Then part 4 is false identity and performance. That part 4, many of you will not like me, but we will be friends later on because that is where we will expose that false identity you are lying. Then part 5. Part 5 is identity reconstruction. My God, that is where we are going to carry everything we have learned. This is why you should go back and go and watch the part 1 again and listen to this one from the one part because he told you as well. Powerful segment. Listen, because when we get to part 5, you will need this. And then when we are done, ladies and gentlemen, good news. When we are done with part 5, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing our first TP Masterclass exam on identity on our website. Are you excited? Everybody's going to get tested. You're going to write a test, Q&A sessions, multiple options. Then you will test yourself to know, did this masterclass enter my head? If not, you go again. You watch it, then you come back and take the test. You go again until it clicks in your mind. Wherever you are, I want you to put TP family in the comment section right now. Put TP family in the comment section. We are TP family members. We will transform this year. Are you with me? So the purpose of today's masterclass, Paul Kwesi already did an incredible segment. My add-on today was there is something called stagnation. Stagnation is a signal. It shows you there are certain things you couldn't develop before you got here, but your desires has grown. No problem. Be patient while becoming. Are you with me? Be patient while becoming. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to take too much of our time today, but I believe you have learned something. If we pause here today, have you learned something? Because part 3 is going to be powerful. If we pause here today, have you learned something? Please, just let me know. If we pause here today, have you learned something? Please, be honest. Have you learned something? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This year we won't joke. I won't joke with you, so don't joke with this channel. I won't joke with you. I will make sure the information that comes to you is well cooked. When it lands in your head, something must happen to your spirit. So today, let me wrap up quickly. Stagnation is not a spirit. Stagnation is a signal. But a spirit can use stagnation. So you are here, and in 2026, you said you want to be a trader. Chief, the current you right now, your identity, is everything opposite to who a trader is meant to be. But no problem, you can become. How do you become that? You become that by growth. Are you with me? By growth. So, by the end of identity, by the time we'll be done with this series, your life won't remain the same again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. Instagram, Facebook, wherever. God bless you and have an amazing evening. I will see you guys next week. Come prepared. Go watch this masterclass. Please watch it again. Watch it again. Watch it again and watch the part 1. This year we will rewire. We will rewire. We will not listen. This year is my 14 plus years of experience in this industry of trading, plus my science background of 7 years. And I'm telling you something, if you do listen to the information that is coming to you in the next couple of weeks, even if you don't become a millionaire, something will change. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to take too much of our time today. Parkwesi already did the thing already for me. So I've just added on something. Don't forget today's topic. Stagnation is not a spirit, it's a signal, but a spirit can hijack it and use it against you. What does that mean? It means what you want now, there is something you should have learned you didn't, but you can start now. Thank you so much for joining today's masterclass. I will see you next week. Don't come, I'm not expectant. Come expectant and to receive. Okay? All right. Take care and have an amazing evening. God bless you all. Bye-bye.